Hello, everybody. We are back, Geeks and Barbells, to talk about the books again. It's the book talk. And I wanted to kind of deep dive into Harry Potter because it is really, like, you could say it's my first love in terms of fantasy, even though I read many others beforehand, things like the Wheel of Time series, which I love, but it's a different kind of love. Harry Potter is what made me kind of connect with a book um, when I was younger, and this is actually my first so destroyed. It's the first copy of Harry Potter when I was a little wee one back in 1999. I don't know if you could see that. It's the property of Jason Blanchard. Oh man, this is good times. I'm surprised this book is actually still alive after all the beatings that it's taken. But Harry Potter was very special back in the day, and you know, already in terms of just books overall, the Harry Potter series kind of changed the way people viewed books. Um, you know, Before that, you never had someone who was that famous just for writing a book. I mean, even the movies just changed the way people viewed fantasy, changed the way they viewed magic. I mean, you had Lord of the Rings, which was very famous before, and also, but Harry Potter really pushed it, especially for YA, for young adult, practically changed the entire industry in that sense. And there's many people who still have not read Harry Potter. And this talk is more so kind of telling people why they should read Harry Potter, why they should push through the first, and I will even say the second and third book, even though I won't get into those two right now. But for many people, especially adults who have not read Harry Potter, they might approach Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on which version you have, and they will say it is very childish, which it is. The first book, obviously, Harry is only 11 years old. He is a little munchkin when this series starts, and the themes and the way him and Ronald Weasley and Hermione Granger are interacting with others and the things they're doing are very kiddish. There are still some central, like, darker themes, we will say, more mature themes that are explored within the first book, but overall, it is a kid's book, let's face it. Even myself, who's read this series probably like over 50 times, the first book is a struggle to read for me every time I try to reread it. I gotta push through that first one and kind of ignore, we'll say, certain parts of it so I can continue the story. Just because at my age now, it's not interesting, certain aspects. But it's a great build up to when you get to the also not only larger novels but more in-depth novels, like once you start getting to the fourth book. But it's really when you hit the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh that the stride really starts becoming more fast-paced. It's deeper, it's more mature, because obviously the characters within the book have grown older, and J.K. Rowling is just a better writer by the fifth book comparatively to how she is when she first started, which makes sense also. More you write, the better you get, usually depends on the author. So there's many people who are going to go and say, well, this is a children's book, I'm not going to check it out. And the thing is, you really should, because J.K. Rowling did something a little bit magical, we'll say, with this series, and that is made someone who, even though he's a child, has a sense of what is right that very few characters in novels in general ever get. Harry makes mistakes, he screws up, he does childish things, but he understands right and wrong in a way that is very, I think, refreshing and good in a series. Because for many series, because they don't go down darker themes, it kind of gets too moralistic. There's no shades of gray. It becomes too much like, oh, good and evil, blah, that's it. Whereas in Harry Potter, you really get to see, in fact, it's not just Harry's character in general, it's his, the way he interacts with Hermione Granger and Ronald Weasley. They all represent certain aspects of humanity. Hermione Granger's like cool intelligence, logic, book smarts. Harry is very impulsive. He's very driven by feelings. It's these are different forms of intelligence. Even Ronald Weasley, it's his sense of how he represents family issues and self-worth and self-esteem, and how he pushes through things. And many people kind of shit on Ron, and I do too. I think Ronald Weasley is kind of a pain in the ass character, even as the book goes on. But that development of those three as they go along, and they're dealing with their own inadequacies and ways of viewing things. And so, Harry could have turned out very differently, with the fact that both his parents died, and then he lives with an aunt and uncle who treat him like garbage, and then he gets to school and he's so popular, and then he accomplishes these things. He could get such an inflated ego, but he never does. There's moments where he might get a bit cocky, but overall Harry's very down to earth. He's very much focused on what is right and what is wrong. He doesn't waste time. Sure, he does bad things sometimes. He doesn't follow the rules. They're misfits, these three, which is interesting with Hermione, because Hermione is very much a rule follower, but because of Harry and Ron, she learns to control that part of herself. It kind of breaks down those walls, and at the same time, she acts as a control on them two from going absolutely bullshit crazy. So they all balance each other out. So it's really fascinating to see that. And the first book is worth reading simply because you get to see that journey of these three kids. And there's other characters like Neville and others who you get to see evolve also and change and shift, and that's really pleasurable to see as well. But it's really the three of them going on a journey as friends, seeing them grow and change and become like the good parts of themselves, the things that you really respect and keep you focused on them, really develop and actually become more understanding of those shades of gray as they go along, but also are reinforced. And then the bad parts of themselves don't necessarily always go away, but get pushed down, get changed as well. And so if you were someone who didn't really like the movie, let's say, and so you didn't want to read the book, or you think it's too childish, I really think it would be worthwhile for many people to push through this, to get through that story, just so that they can get to the next ones and see how that develops. It's really interesting. And I think if you actually just, like, if you're not interested in the childish parts, you can skip some parts. As long as you can kind of tell when something is not necessary to the story in a moment, you can kind of like pass over it and you'll get through it. And I think it's really, really worthwhile, just because Harry Potter has been so famous for a reason. There's a reason. It's a phenomenal story overall. And it shows so many different themes. It deals with sexism and racism and just good and evil, and the differences between the two, and the shades of gray in between. Dumbledore's character, his development, and finding about his past and what he had done and how he changed, and even as an adult being so brilliant, the mistakes he continues to make throughout the books. And there's so much in there that you can learn from. It is phenomenal. And so give it a shot. If you really hate it, obviously don't. I definitely don't think you should waste your time reading a book that just like turns you off or you hate. But if you're someone who's just been hesitant or unsure, or you started reading, you're like, I could read this, but it seems kind of kiddish, so I'm going to stop, it's definitely worth pushing through. It definitely is. The first book is the foundation of how the rest of the series will progress, and there's many mistakes done in it and things that don't make sense, just like in any novel. Or there's a lot of decisions made by people that are illogical, and that's kind of enjoyable also, just to see how dumb humans can be regardless of how smart they are and how dumb people can make really good decisions and end up being heroes just because they understand that this is right, this is wrong, this cannot be. It's kind of a story of love, really. Harry Potter is kind of like a big love story. It's Harry's love for his parents and what they stood for him. It's Harry's love for Ron and Hermione and him wanting to protect them, and vice versa. Dumbledore's love for Harry and him wanting to protect him from all these things, but yet wanting to, being able to experience life. It's a really great exploration of just what it is to be human. And there's very few books that are of this persuasion, we will say, that are meant for kids that manage to do this so well. So give it a shot. Check it out. The Sorcerer's Stone is fun. It is a fun book. So think about it. Ponder it. Check it out. If you really hate it, then push it aside. But if you don't, you know what I mean? Jelly bean, give it a shot. I'm going to leave it at that for now. I wanted to keep this short because I've made a shit ton of videos today and I'm kind of tired. But Harry Potter is always worth a read if you are a lover of books or someone who's trying to gently ease their way into the book reading realm where the cool people are. The cool geeks. I feel like this is a symbol from something. I don't know. For those of you who are only listening in audio, this is probably kind of strange what I'm saying right now, but in video, where is this from? Or am I just crazy? I don't know. Have fun, everybody. Stay healthy. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. And I will definitely be doing some more in-depth stuff on Harry Potter in the future books. I'm just kind of keeping this one short today. So, peace.